Hello everybody. I'm going to give a demonstration on how to paint your first mini painting, which is going to be a fruit or a vegetable. Again, I kind of talk about you developing your own stuff in terms of taking your own photographs, and that's kind of more for people who feel like they might want to pursue art as an actual career. And get into an art college, because you have to have a portfolio to get into an art college, and you can't copy images from the internet. They want to have you work with your own photography skills and stuff like that. I did not take this photo. I just printed this one off just kind of for a demonstration and everything. I'm not intending to go back to school again. I am done school. But I'm going to be using this kind of for my project. Now, you will have to kind of plan ahead because you really should only, kind of put one or two colors that are on here. I do have a few extra of these. I can't give one to everybody kind of thing, but we might have like a circle one that you could use instead. But we're a little limited on how many of these we actually have. Because the colors you have are going to be in these little tubes, which means that you need to put them in here, when you're at school, so you can use them when you're at home. So you kind of have to plan ahead a little bit and get what you need. Now, obviously, you can always kind of come like before school or after school or something like that if you need to grab some more on Wednesdays or open our room nights. So there are other days you can stop in, but the less you have to travel back and forth, the better. I did want to show you how to put oils on. Oils do get kind of expensive. Remember, these are water-based, and you're going to be using water, like I have right here in this little cup, to be able to kind of paint with them. You want to be a little careful about making your stuff too thick, because it'll take forever for it to dry. So you kind of have to layer it with making sure your paints are kind of built up on top of each other. Sometimes you might have to let it sit for a few days to dry, and you just kind of have to work through it. But I'm just going to open this up. Do not always trust the color that's on here, that's out of here. That's why on my wall over there on the red pegboard, you'll see what it actually looks like. But you don't typically need that much. So I'm just going to give it a little bit of squeeze. Then I'm going to kind of press down. And that might be enough right there for what I'm painting. Okay, so this really should last, probably for the year kind of thing. Now, if you need to go back and get more, that's fine. And I might need to. And to be able to kind of go back and work on it. And I do have some larger tubes. This one's black. I'm always going to recommend that you have black and white as you put that in there. And this one right here, just a titanium white. So I'm going to get some colors on here. Then I'm going to sketch this out with pencil first, because I'm not going to do a background to foreground painting where you do the whole background and you put something on top of that. I might do that for another example, but not for this one. Okay. Other than that, I'm going to kind of do my interpretation of this, okay, which will be obviously a time-lapse video. So sit back and enjoy the music. Okay, so this was about a half hour's worth of work. I did, if you noticed, went ahead and added more colors because I decided to go ahead and do the green part and the blue part. Now, in terms of the painting technique that I want you to do, the more you thin it out, the faster it's going to dry. But you need to thin it out because when you take the paint out, it's going to be very sticky, and you're not going to be able to paint it very well. So you use water to help it flow better. And when you take painting too, there's a special kind of liquid that you use that actually extends the drying time, so it should stay wet even longer, but continues to allow it to flow instead of dry out like water does. But that's a painting two thing. So water is good enough for where we're at right now. And also with technique, this is where we might divide a little bit. I feel like a painting should look like a painting. It shouldn't look like a photograph. If I wanted a photograph of a strawberry, I would have grabbed a photograph of a strawberry. I really like the technique of which I want you to kind of play around with, where you're not trying to make it look like a photorealistic thing of this, but you don't overly mix, but you leave the brush strokes in there, and you have a variety of shades and tints and values and hues and all those other fancy art terms to show that an area has a lot of color. So I'm kind of done with the background. If you notice, this was plain white, but I knew a cool color like blue would work off very well, because green has blue in it, and it really kind of sets this off. I did add a darker part underneath here to seem like it's casting a shadow. I have not gone in and added this other stuff. I want to let this sit and dry for a day, and then we'll come back and talk about it. And then I'm gonna probably go in and probably add some of this other detail. Otherwise, I might go ahead and do that, here in a little bit. I'm not sure yet in terms of the direction and how realistic I want this. I know I don't like it the way it is right now. I feel like it's too flat, but it needs to have some of those seeds. But I don't know if I want to go ahead and try to get every seed. If I did this, I would go ahead and count and see like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. About 9 of those seeds go from the widest area, and maybe 3 are here, just so I don't have an overabundance of that. But I don't know if I want to go in and add all that detail in on this. Or I might be done with it. But I feel like I can really see the strokes in here a little bit too much, because I think I thinned that out a little bit too much. So I definitely want to add another coat on there at the very least before I feel like I'm done with this mini painting, and put another half hour work into it. Otherwise, again, this is all water soluble. So when you're done with this, you take the paper out, you rinse it in the sink. It'll just be dyed, those colors, but it won't come off. And then when you're ready for your next painting, you can get your colors, and that you need. So you can literally kind of put one in here at a time. But this is your final project. These 5 mini paintings are your final. So you should try to get, like 1 or 2 done a week. In terms of trying to figure out how you'd want to do that. But I do have, like I said, I'm gonna grab one. This is not clean. But I could give you some of these. I think I do have enough of these that I might be able to give people, and you can put your colors in here. And again, you'll just wash them. And because this takes a long time to dry when it's thicker, you shouldn't have to worry about having the paper, the sponge underneath here. But I mean, use it for this. But in case we do go that route, you'll have that. So other than that, I'm gonna get my brushes cleaned up at least, put my paints away, let this sit, and I'll look at this tomorrow morning and see where we're at. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, it is about 6:30 in the morning. I was doing this yesterday, and I worked on this, I think, around 2:30. So this is, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So about 16 hours later. And I'm going to kind of touch this. It's still, there's a lot of paint right here. It is still a little tacky, which is awesome. Because if I want to kind of go in and rework an area, all I have to do is just add a little bit of water to it, and it'll probably be good to go for me to kind of add on there. But it's not so wet that I can't add a new color on top of there and be able to work with it. So we're good. So I really like the background. It doesn't have the streakiness like this does right here. I have the it's kind of clumpy, because I like that look of a painterly look. Could have defined the stem a little bit better, but I have some highlights and shadows on there, so I know I'm attempting to get that, and that's what I'm looking for a lot of times. It's just the attempt and the general understanding of what you're doing. Now I'm still struggling, trying to figure out on how detailed I want to get with this. I'm going to see if I can go in and, I might add another layer of red on here to try to get rid of the streakiness, and then see if I can hit some highlights, because it does look like I have this white part here, so I have to create this kind of shape, and then from there's just these half circle, these are dots, and then the end, trying to go get those seeds. So we're just gonna take a shot at it, okay? And we'll see if I can make this work. Okay, thanks. Okay, so I'm all done with it. And just like you, when you paint, I get nervous. I'm worried I'm gonna screw it all up, but that shouldn't stop you. Okay. I still remember a drawing instructor I had in college. He always gave me kind of good grades in all my drawings, even if they were terrible, because you could see that the person tried, and that they try to push the envelope. They tried something a little bit new. They spent time on it, and that is the thing. Is if I can easily see, because of all the colors you used and all the trying to meticulously get into spaces and stuff like that, if I can see you spend like an hour or two on something versus a half hour on something, that's when you get a good grade. It's not necessarily that it's technically correct, although when you spend time on it, they usually tend to get technically correct. But it is what it is. Now, in terms of color matching, obviously these are not the same reds. This is a painting. This is a photograph. This is a photograph. This is a painting. We're in a painting class. So again, that's why I usually interpret when we do stuff, that it shouldn't look like an exact copy of it. Otherwise, just take a photograph of it. But try to do an interpretation of it. Try to learn how to see. I never really looked at a strawberry this closely before, and realizing that you have the centerpiece here, and all those highlights are kind of circular around that piece, and it makes sense because it's almost kind of like sphere-like. So I learned a little bit today. I got done with it, and then I realized I feel like I have paint sitting on top of paint, and it wasn't being a part of the whole painting. So I went back in and I kind of softened the edge up of all the whites and pinks that I laid down. And I got done with that. Then I looked at it. And it's like, well, I don't feel like there's not enough contrast in there. So then I went in with my black, because then I was realizing, there are some dark areas in here, and I started using that black, and then it started coming alive. So you have to have that contrast for something to be able to, like I always say, for it to pop and for it to come alive. But this is this project. So this is your first mini project for oil painting on a 5x7 board. Again, it can be a fruit or a vegetable. Ideally, take a photograph yourself so you can call it yours. Or if you do what I did, just grab something off the internet. So, okay, good luck on your project, and we will be doing our next one here in a little bit. Thanks. Bye.